In reality, it is almost impossible to pick the correct cache settings in a development environment. You need to put the application into a production-like environment, take some measurements, and then make some adjustments. You might find out that you are using too much memory caching requests that just aren't being used, or you might find that you're not caching enough. For these reasons, ASP.NET allows you to specify a cache profile in the output cache attribute. A cache profile is something that's stored in your web.config file. It's underneath a section named caching, and it's inside of here where you can put duration values. As this example demonstrates, you can have multiple cache profiles, and you reference the cache profile by name in the output cache attribute. I generally recommend using cache profiles instead of hard-coding cache settings, because first of all, it avoids repetition in the cache attributes. If you want to double the duration inside of all your cache attributes, you don't have to do a search and replace through the code. You just go to one location in your web.config file. It's also easier to change the cache settings now because all you're doing is editing the config file. You don't have to change the setting in code, recompile, and redeploy the application. And typically, when you're doing performance tuning on an application, you need to run it while taking some measurements, then tweak the cache settings, and then you run the application again to make sure that you really did get better results and that it's not getting worse. And you'll do this over and over again until you reach some goal, like reduced memory usage or reduced CPU usage, or an increase in how many requests per second your application handles. To give you an idea of what it looks like to work with a cache profile, let's go into the home controller and remove these hard-coded duration values in the output cache attributes and use cache profiles instead. So the first step would be to go into web.config, and underneath of the system.web setting, you can enter a caching section, and you'll notice you get IntelliSense the whole way through. We're going to add some output cache settings, specifically some output cache profiles. The first one I'll add will have a name of short, and we'll give that one a duration of 10 seconds. And then we'll add a second one called long, and that will have a duration of 60 seconds. Now I can come into the home controller, and instead of specifying a duration, I can say cache profile equals, this one could be long, and a cache profile down here of short. Now the output cache attributes will use those settings from the cache profile, and I can easily go in and change these after I've determined that the cache settings need some tweaking.